You'll be getting 2 plastic plates, and this is so you can put your paint on one of the plates, and the second will actually provide a lid for when you store your paint. And you'll store your paint in these plastic Ziploc bags, and you'll just kind of put them together like this. This will just protect the plastic bag from getting paint all over it. Then you'll also be getting a piece of palette paper. The palette paper has kind of a plasticky coating, so it's suitable for mixing and doesn't absorb. And this is where you'll be doing all of the mixing today. So on one of your plates, you will be placing your colors. On one side, put your warm colors. So cadmium red, cadmium yellow, medium, and then ultramarine blue. So just a small amount. You can always get more if you need it, but as you can see here, they're just placed all on one side. Alizarin crimson is my cool red, cadmium yellow light is my cool yellow, and then cobalt blue is my cool blue. And then there is my palette set up and ready to go. Warm primaries on one side, cool on the other, and then I have a sheet of palette paper that I will mix on. Start by just placing your primaries since they're just the pure color right from your palette. So I'm just going to go ahead and start filling in the warm color wheel here with the Cad Red. And then I'll just repeat that process for all of the colors. Notice too, I do have the list of colors next to the color wheel. That will help you just keep it sorted as you're placing all of these different colors. Make sure to use different brushes for each color or really rinse your brush off thoroughly. You don't want any water in your brush, so make sure when you rinse it, you do dry it off before
Next,
you
we are going
use
to
the
start
next color.
mixing secondaries and tertiaries and kind of going around into thirds as we fill the color wheel, and we'll hop between warm and cool. So we're going to go orange and then the 2 tertiaries, green, the 2 tertiaries, violet, and the 2 tertiaries, just so you know the order. You want to start with the lightest color. So when we're mixing orange, yellow is lighter than red. So I start with yellow. I'm using a palette knife here, and notice I can just wipe that off, wipe the paint color off, and then grab the new color so I'm not contaminating. But what I'll do is just mix this thoroughly, just kind of spread it around on the palette paper. You want about a 50-50 ratio to make the orange, and you may need to wipe it off and add more yellow to adjust. And if you need assistance on this, just ask if you want me to check a color for you. But just mix about 50-50 ratio until you get that orange. Then take your brush and go ahead and place it in the orange space on the warm color wheel. Now divide the back of the orange. I like to just use the back of my paintbrush so I see a line. That helps me visually see it. One half will become red orange, the other half will become yellow orange. So what we need to do is on one side, we will add in a little extra yellow to produce that yellow orange. And then we can take our brush and paint that in. And then we can add more red to the other side, mix that up, and paint in our red orange. Now, if you need to make adjustments, feel free to adjust. And if you need to really make a big adjustment, just let it dry on the paper completely, and then you can repaint over it with a new color if need be. Next up, you're going to do the orange and red orange and yellow orange on the cool side of things. So make sure your palette knife is clean or your brush is clean as you scoop out paint. Start with that Cad yellow light. It's the lighter of the color. Then you're going to add in the alizarin crimson, mix up your orange, and then you'll repeat the process where you divide that orange in half, and then you'll do the 2 tertiaries, red orange and yellow orange. And remember, you can make adjustments if needed. Next up, we're going to do the greens, and go ahead and hop back up to the warm, do those greens first, and then go down to the cool. So to mix green, you're going to start with your Cad yellow medium, and I'm going to place it under the warm oranges just so I can have warms on one side, cool on the other, just to keep track of things. Make sure you're wiping off your palette knife too as you're adding in the color. And then you're mixing in ultramarine blue to cad yellow medium. And you want about a 50-50 ratio. Mix that up with your palette knife, and then you'll place that in the green. Then what you'll do is that same process where you divide it in half. I like to draw that line with the back of my paintbrush. You'll add yellow into one half for yellow green and blue into the other half for blue green. Then we'll move on to the cools after we complete the warm. To make the cool green, you are starting with the cad yellow light. Then you are going to be adding in a little cobalt blue. So again, make sure you're using a clean palette knife or a clean paintbrush. Mix a 50-50 ratio of the paint together. Then you'll place your green, and then go ahead and repeat that process with your yellow green and your blue green. You'll divide the paint in half. You'll add a little extra yellow to one half, extra blue to the other, and then go ahead and place that on your color wheel. Again, make adjustments as needed, and remember, don't mix any water in with your paint. All right, last up we have our violets. So we'll hop back up to our warm violet first and then move to our cool. I will let you know the warm violet is a bit of a challenge, but start with your cad red and then you'll add ultramarine into it. And the reason why your warm violet or purple will turn out almost have a little brownish tint to it. And the reason is the red has a lot of yellow in it compared to a cool red, that is. And so you'll kind of see it's not necessarily the same violet you'll get with the cool, but you'll see as you mix it. But again, you want a 50-50 ratio, mix that together. Then you'll do the split, add red into one half to make red violet, add blue into the other half to make blue violet. Again, adjust as needed. To finish the color wheels, you'll do your cool violet or purple, and you're going to go ahead and start with your alizarin crimson, and then you'll be mixing in the cobalt blue. Again, a 50-50 ratio. Repeat that process. I'm sure you have it down by now. You'll split it in half, add extra alizarin crimson to one half for your red violet, and in the other half add a little extra cobalt blue to get your blue violet. Then you're going to go ahead and let this dry completely.